Xbox, Record This is a podcast celebrating all things gaming, food, and the good old days. If you'd like to find out more, head to xboxrecordthis.com.
That's good. Oh, hello.
Oh, hello. Daddy Diwali here, and welcome to Xbox Record This, episode 27.
You
My
better
name...
keep that entire thing from the...
Thanks for interrupting me. Somebody mute the assistant to the co-host. My name is Daddy Diwali, and joining
and with
me
as always
is the assistant to the co-host, Chipotlebear. Chipotlebear, how are you, my friend?
I am doing great, man. It's Thursday night. I'm super pumped to be here. We got so much great stuff to talk about. We got reviews, games we're playing, and of course, we're pumped for Forza 5. You guys have some big news on that end here shortly, but overall, man, things are real great. Happy to be here.
All right, thank you so much. Can you turn off that coffee maker in the background? Joining us, as always, the assistant to the co-host, BubbleBoy and 7. Interrupting me, as always, joining us, BubbleBoy and 7.
Yeah, I'm always
I don't like
here.
it being in. Do you like that? Oh, yeah. See? Thanks.
You have the power to mute me, though, too, so it's almost your own fault.
All right, thanks for joining us, BubbleBoy. Gentlemen, I wanted to give a quick shout-out. We only have one minor shout-out this week, and it's back to Horology Park. Oh, that's my computer making that noise. I need to move it back down. Horology Park, again on YouTube, responded to Chipotlebear saying that he was going to watch the video, and he says to make sure to ask you about that, and you better follow through. And he also said that the ring used to scare us pretty good as well. I wonder if this is someone we know? I'm not sure
the
yet.
The ring is great. When he says us, like, I feel like if he knew us, he would be like, "Hey, it's me."
Maybe you're right. And then that was the only shout out this week. But let's jump into the warm up reader mail, and this comes from our good friend BubbleBoy and 7, and he asks, in honor of 20 years of Xbox, here's a question for you guys: if you could only play the last 20 years of Xbox games or the upcoming 20 years of Xbox games, what would you pick to play for the rest of time? Let's throw it over to Chipotlebear.
I want to back clean up on this one because I was really interested to hear what you guys said, and we might all be on the same page. And remember, and it's only if you choose one, you don't get anything. So Diwali, that means Forza is not accessible to us for another hour and 14 minutes. So if you choose past, you do not get Forza Horizon 5.
What? It hasn't happened yet.
I know. So you're taking the past 20 years, you do not get to ever play Forza Horizon 5 or Halo.
Like I'm the confused. Newest one you'd ever got to have
We
played
don't get
Horizon.
to play the newer version of the game?
Correct. That's the whole thing. So it's 20 years.
Okay, Chipotlebear, what is going on over there? But honestly, whose fan is that? Is that you, BubbleBoy?
No. That's a bath. Like, that's water.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, that's what I'm hearing. So when I read this, Chance, I was like, this is an easy question. I'll just play the next 20 years. I don't have to play any of these old games ever again because I've experienced them. Why would I want to continue to play old games when I already have perfectly good memories? I want the new experiences.
Oh, wow.
So that would be my answer. But you're telling me if it already existed and a new iteration of it comes out, then I could not play it?
So, Chipo, how did you understand?
Yeah. I know what Chance was trying to say. So the premise is we're talking about like a science fiction story, and either the option is you are living in an infinite time loop where that starts at the beginning of Xbox, like the very first Gen 1, the Duke, right, up until literally today. And you can play the games anytime that existed in that period for all eternity, but you can never play another Xbox game outside of that. Conversely, if you choose the opposite, where you're the newer ones, you can play all of the new games for the next 20 years, whatever they are, even if they're new IP that we've never played, but you could never go back and play any of the original games. So like
Mass Effect
Collection,
trilogy.
Yeah, Mass Effect would be gone, that kind of stuff. So that's honestly what made my answer pretty easy, and I'm actually in the same camp as Diwali. I would choose the future. Like, as much as I have the nostalgia for the old, and I'm so grateful for them, I have played them. Now, in the scenario where, like, what if I forgot them all and I could never experience them for the first time? Like, you know, I think we're getting pretty deep into the sci-fi realm there, because the fact is I have played them. So for that reason, I would choose the next 20 years. But I'm eternally grateful for what we have gotten from the first 20, because obviously it's led to this point and so many great experiences and memories in gaming. And I would be definitely sad if I couldn't play them, but I would definitely choose the latter. That's my answer.
Really,
me too.
Neither of you. It's no brainer, huh?
This is an easy answer. Unless Jose was saying, if my memory was wiped and I could go back and play these last 20 years and having never experienced them, versus who knows what's coming in the next 20 years.
And even, I mean, they could all suck moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. But no, to me, it's easy. If I've already experienced it, I will always remember it. And as much as I love Mass Effect Trilogy, and will replay it when I get my PS5, and just to replay it again, and probably replay it on the Xbox at some point, or Halos, I've already experienced it, and I like the new experiences. Chance, this one's easy for me. I'd still pick the next 20 years, because who knows what we're gonna get. We're gonna get a new Mass Effect game. It's gonna be incredible, right? Maybe.
I mean, yeah, I
can hold that hope.
Like, what if
it's a classic.
What if you had to the end of this calendar year, so you got to include Horizon 5 and you got to include Halo Infinite? Wouldn't change your answer at all?
No, because you're saying, okay, so that means I couldn't play. You're including two hopefully phenomenal games, but they haven't come out yet. And as of right now, even if until November 15th, I would cut off it. Sorry, Forza Horizon, as much as I'm excited to play that. As long as I get to experience the new Halo and play that, I would. Because, Chance, there's going to be another Forza Horizon, and it's only going to get better. Somehow they still continue to move on. What would you pick? You never answered.
So, and here's... So, I don't know if any of you remember, because you've certainly never made fun of me for it, but a couple of years ago, I pegged Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Cyberpunk 2077 as possibly... I was like, those might go down. Before I played them, I was like, I'm just so excited for them. They might go down.
Wait. I have to interrupt. You guys, Chance last year thought that Assassin's Creed... I don't even remember... Or not Assassin's Creed. What was it? He thought Cyberpunk 2077, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Watch Dogs Legion were potentially going to make his top 5 greatest games of all time. It was going to change his maybe top 10 games of all times. He literally thought those 3 games were going to change his life. Too much hype. You got to go in with no expectations. But continue.
Yeah, and they all... I mean, none of them... Well, Watch Dogs Legion kind of sucked. I don't know. I thought about that, and I was like, you know what? If you let me include Horizon 5 and Halo, I might stick with it. I mean, and think about all the hours you put in Warzone. You could play...
But would you see what comes out and just know you can't play it? Would you be able to watch it? Or is this like, no, there's like, they just don't exist to you? See, because then in that hand, I could just watch these new games, you know? And
I would say you're on a desert island and you don't have, like, that's it. Right?
But you'd somehow get dropped the new games. I'd take the new games. Did you say your answer? I don't still think you did.
No, I mean, I would say the future, but it was not an easy slam dunk.
It was easy for me. Anyway, thank you for that suggestions. If you guys have any warm-up questions, please send it to our email, xboxrecordthis@gmail.com. Food, warm-up questions, video games, movies. We love it all. Thank you so much, BubbleBoy, for writing that one for us. Guys,
sorry, the last 20 years of the Popeyes menu or the next 20 years of the Popeyes menu?
Last 20
now
years.
You're going to go with the spicy chicken.
Jose's like, damn it, we weren't given time to prepare for this one.
Guys, let's talk about what we've been playing, and then we'll get into some reviews. So just talk about briefly what you've been playing this week, and we'll save the reviews for afterwards. And I'd like to go last in this because I want to kind of go into a discussion about the game that I played this week. Go ahead. Let's go with you, Jose.
So the big one, and I'll talk more about it here shortly, is the Avengers game that's on Game Pass. I was able to complete the base game, like the main storyline of that, and so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But that felt great. Been working on that for a little bit. I also, in preparation of trying to just bide my time before Forza 5, because I did not do the early release like you fellas, I was like, I want something kind of quick at least to try out, and so I did download Visage. that scary horror game, and I literally played about 10 minutes before we were able to start recording tonight. I definitely see why people think it's as scary as Kaka, and I actually watched an IGN video about like how scary is it, where all the hosts were playing it and they're just recording their reactions. And, you know, I'll be honest, it's not what I thought it was in terms of gameplay. And so I don't know if I'll actually finish it, even though I like the premise and it is definitely scary. But that's what I've been playing this week. And so excited to kind of, as we get into like Thanksgiving break coming up, we're actually going to go on a little trip with our family to Georgia. But in the meantime, hopefully lots of gaming time, and excited to play, of course, like Forza 5 and then, of course, prepare for our good old Halo. Just kidding. All right.
Too much fun with the soundboard. BubbleBoy, what have you been playing?
Well, I bought Guardians of the Galaxy after I saw the soundtrack for it, and you guys know that from last week. But I've only played about a half an hour of it, and it looks absolutely fantastic. It looks gorgeous. It sounds gorgeous. I actually really like all the characters already, and I don't have that like, oh no, where's so and so? Like, how come it's not Batista playing
Where's
Drax?
Chris Pratt?
Like,
yeah.
So I'm so excited. I didn't keep playing though because I was having so much fun with Resident Evil Village, and I'm really trying hard to get 1,000 out of 1,000 on it. I just started my Village of Shadows run tonight, which is like the super ultimate hardest difficulty. So I'm through most of the mercenaries mode. I only have a couple Chivos left, which are like the do it all with a knife and do it under 3 hours. So I just, man, that game, it was so good. So good. Chipo's review of 9 out of 10 was spot on, and
wow.
I'm really glad I picked it up, and for so cheap too. It's like $25.
So I'm definitely have to play that after you beat it. Good to hear. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Guys, I finished BioShock Infinite. I beat it on hard mode. That's what I've been playing. And just like the first time I played it, I remember the last battle just sucking so hard. And again, when I played it, I had to look up a strat because I was like,
the one on the
just
on
getting
the blimp?
pissed. You're on the blimps, and you have to take out of the blimps with spoilers the creature, and I'm like, this is dumb. And they just keep coming, and it's just too much. I was getting mad. I was like, this is just dumb, but. Thankfully, I figured out a decent strat, and I beat it pretty easily, actually, on hard. Chance, I did also start the Burial at Sea. Very cool to be back in, what's it called again?
Rapture.
I was just in Rapture, and I was just in Columbia.
Rapture.
I wanted to ask you guys, which of the two worlds did you like most, Rapture or Columbia? Because I think they're both very good in separate ways, you know.
They are. It's so hard not to say Rapture because that was just so unique and so like defining of that entire game. But Columbia was done so well, and I think when you compare the two, it's hard for it to win because it would beat out level design and unique world building for most any other game. But I got to go Rapture. Chipo?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Just, I mean, like the premise of an underwater city in of itself, like sets it above so many other things.
A floating city?
I mean, yeah, but I don't know if it's quite the same thing. Like, and so maybe that's just like my own innate fear of like deep, dark water, that like that would be terrifying in of itself, but it adds the element of like escape is virtually impossible because you don't know how far the surface is. I mean, I know the sky thing is also similar, but like maybe a giant hawk would catch you. Maybe you have a parachute. You know what I'm saying? Like there are other elements at play, I think. So for me, Rapture all the way.
I was just going to say also, it's really cool. They're completely different styles too of gameplay. Like Columbia is just more of an open, shooter, more action, more frantic, fast paced. Whereas when you're in Rapture, it's definitely more sneaky, creepy, more of a little bit a horror element for sure. Even just jumping from Columbia and going back to Rapture, and I kind of forgot that playing the first one. But Chance, I wanted to ask you, can you explain to me, without the Burial at Sea stuff, and spoiler alert, can you explain to me the ending to BioShock Infinite as you took it, or Jose, you as well? Because to me, I'm still very confused at like overall what happened.
Well,
and don't include Burial at Sea, or does Burial at Sea? I feel like it's going to explain some more on that.
I wish you would have asked this over a text before so I could bone up on it a little bit. I don't remember, but I remember when I did connect it and her little finger getting cut off, being like,
yeah,
I get it.
Okay. Well, let's plan on that next week because I do want to have a discussion on BioShock because I've played all three of them fairly recently. Let's do a general BioShock kind of spoiler cast, which is pretty cool. Well, I don't think I have any other games. Of course, playing Destiny for some dumb reason every now and then. I did beat Halos 1 through 4 now. I just have 5 left in preparation of the launch of Halo Infinite. So if you guys want to do co-op,
sorry, I just have to.
Okay, anytime it's mentioned. So that is what I've been playing.
Tell me you don't just a little bit like
BubbleBoy. Do you have any quick reviews for us, or were your reviews last week pretty much it? Or did you want
6 for Scarlet Nexus, 7 for Far Cry 6. Let's move on.
Worth the Game Pass play or not, Scarlet Nexus?
Not right now, no. If you had done it earlier or maybe this summer. But, I mean, Halo Forza.
What was the other one? I don't even remember the second one. What was the first?
Far Cry 6.
Wait for sale. How much would you pay for it? How about that?
Scarlet Nexus is free.
I mean Far Cry, yeah.
If you were bored and done with most of the rest of your backlog, 25, 30. It's not even about the money, it's about the time. And I would put 5 or 6 other games in front of it that you haven't played.
Did you try to go for 1,000 on that?
I wanted to, and then I was just like, I have Resident Evil sitting here.
And you're doing. I'm impressed. If you get 1,000 on Resident Evil, that's impressive. Now you got to go back and get Resident Evil 2 as well. Chipotlebear, why don't you give us your quick review of Marvel's Avengers? Also, I would just want to quickly say there was some sort of announcement today for it. I guess Spider-Man's finally coming to PlayStation. I just have no interest in this game, but maybe Jose will change my mind here. Jose, give us your review of Avengers, Marvel's Avengers from Square Enix.
I actually don't know if I will change your opinion. I'll be honest with you. So, again, just a couple caveats. BubbleBoy has also played this too, and he gave us kind of a very short review very early on in the history of the podcast. But because it just came to Game Pass, I decided to pick it up because I've always liked Avengers. Obviously, the MCU, the movies have been fantastic. Even Phase 4 has been doing pretty good overall. And so I wanted to pick it up. I know that it got really lackluster reviews when it came out, and so just trying to kind of ignore those and say I'm just going to take it at face value. So my overall score is just for the base game, meaning it's like the kind of the game you would have bought if you would have bought it day one. And I'll talk more about that here at the end. But my score was a 6. Which means it's an okay game. That's honestly how I'd classify it. The graphics, the pros of it, the graphics are absolutely stunning, especially running on the Series X. If you have a 4K TV, if you have HDR, it is actually freaking beautiful. Like just the facial expressions, the lighting, the special effects, the frame rate, like it's actually really, the engine is beautiful. And especially when there's like frantic moments when you're running, everything is like crystal clear and very obvious, which is great. The controls I thought were pretty tight, solid, pretty easy to pick up, nothing hard to remember, going from like kind of the special moves to the regular moves and stuff like that. I thought it was all actually pretty balanced really well. I would argue that the story was also pretty heartwarming. Like you start as Kamala Khan, and I didn't know a whole lot about Miss Marvel, to be fair, but she was a very endearing character. She kind of reminds us all of ourselves to a degree, and so I think she was a great way to run the thing because she's kind of an introduction of a new character. They also did a really good job of using all of the classic kind of Avengers that you think of. Obviously, the big four: Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, that kind of thing. And they make you play as each of them. So you get to play with the different styles. You get to play with their different powers and stuff like that, which I thought was all great. And they did, of course, because they were smart, they left the door open for a sequel. And of course, because of the way they built the game, lots of DLC. And so that's one thing that I think is really cool, and I may go back and actually do some of the DLC. I wanted to get through Wakanda before I moved on to another game, but again, I'm just running short because of big launch season. And I looked it up; it's about an 8-hour campaign. So I was like, I'd rather Forza's coming up. Like I could try to squeeze that in, or I could go to Visage and I'd do something a little different. I just wanted to mix it up, so I went Visage. And then the last Pro is just. It's on Game Pass. It's free. Literally costs you nothing other than the space on your hard drive. That alone, I think, makes it worth a play. I'll be super honest with you. Totally worth the time to play. I'm not mad that I did. But now let's talk about some cons. I think ultimately by the end of the gameplay was pretty stale. Like it was really cool for the first couple of levels, just like wrecking guys and doing their special effects and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, like, you do the same thing over and over and over again. And yeah, the enemies change a little bit. They get a little bit more complicated, but I think just by the end, I was just ready for that piece of it to be done. And part of the problem, and this is the next one, is there were not enough big villains. Realistically, there are two. There are two big name villains that you'd recognize from comics. I won't spoil who they are because that plays into the story pretty heavily, but considering how many heroes there are, I was really kind of shocked that there weren't more big name villains from the Marvel universe. And of course, you know, that might be strategic that for the DLC or for sequels or whatever, but I thought that was kind of a little bummer. I also, and I chance said this before, the upgrade and inventory system was ridiculously convoluted and absolutely unnecessary. Like every hero has like 4 different kind of like armor pieces, and every one of them can be upgraded, and every one of the upgrades can be like enhanced by materials that you collect. Like, and I really didn't feel like it made a huge difference, like any of them. It didn't even make any cosmetic differences for the most part, which I thought was dumb. BubbleBoy, you want to jump in?
Yeah, because I just want to say I had been comparing it the whole time to something like Injustice 2 that does that so incredibly well, right? And you were always getting something new, and it was always cool to check out and try on, whereas it was just exact opposite in this one.
Absolutely. And you know, they do have also an ability branch thing, like a lot of games do, right? Where you get skill points, you choose where you want to spend them, and you get to play to your style. I think if they had just done that, that would have been plenty, like perfectly fine. And maybe added some cosmetic stuff would have been cool for fun. But other than that, I thought it was great. I thought it was excessive. And then the last thing, I mean, it was clearly because I think they were capitalizing, and this is just my opinion, on the MCU stuff and the popularity of superheroes. They were really trying to cash in on microtransaction. Like if you look at the game now, there's like a whole marketplace and you can buy all these extra skins, you can buy all these things, but like once you play the campaign, I don't think I would pay even $2 for this even a really cool skin of like Tony Stark that's Halloween themed to go play the whole game again. I just wouldn't do that. And then the other thing that I think they were trying to do, and maybe it just wasn't executed the way I would have done it, is that, do you remember when we were kids and you go to the arcade and there was literally like the co-op 4-player games? Like we've talked about the X-Men one, there's like the Simpsons one. They kind of were trying to do that in the online realm, where like you can have, theoretically, like if you and Chance were on the game when I was, you could jump into my game and we could do co-op on specific missions and stuff like that. And there's like matchmaking. You know, I get what they're trying to do. It's just, this game is really built to be a 1-player game. It's not really built to be a multiplayer game like that. And so I think that was a little bit of a missed opportunity. So ultimately, like I said, will I play the DLC? Yeah, maybe. I mean, if I have some time where I want to get back into the superhero, I'm sure I'd like the Black Panther one. It's fun. Again, it makes for a fun kind of smash and grab game. Is it ultra memorable? Not really. Would I be mad if I had paid full price $60? Yeah, I'd probably be a little disappointed. I'll be real honest with you. So again, Game Pass free. I think it was definitely a fun playthrough. I'm stick by my 6 and move into Visage and Forza Halo season. BubbleBoy,
Who was your favorite character to play as?
I know you really liked Captain America. I did like his too. There's an obvious element that I'm a little bummed out with him that I don't want to say because it spoils it. We can talk later, but I think ultimately it was Iron Man. I think that the Hulk, I told you I was getting like weirdly sick with how much he jumps around, and I liked Kamala because of her as a character. I didn't love her powers, the way that they fought specifically. So Iron Man, I also just like the ability to fly around. I feel like that added an element that just made the game a little bit more fun for me. So Iron Man was definitely my favorite, probably. Yeah, so overall, but a great game, man. If you have time, it's definitely worth the playthrough, for sure.
It's totally right. I wanted to ask you, it sounds like the main problem with this game is that it's actually was a cool single-player game, but kind of forced to be this multiplayer game and forced looter game. Do you feel like if this was just a straight up single player game like Guardians looks like it is, that it would have been potentially way better? And Chance, you as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair assessment. I mean, because here's the other part, and I don't have a good answer, so I hate being the guy who criticizes something without offering a way to fix it. But part of the challenge was like they forced the looting and finding these crazy resources that I didn't really use a whole lot because they were such big maps and they didn't want them to feel empty. Like it all makes sense why, but here's the you say, well, why don't you just make the map smaller? Well, the problem is when you're talking about massive heroes, Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, who are just, they occupy so much physical space in their universe, you want that freedom to do that. And so having a small contained space wouldn't allow you to do that. So, it's a kind of it's like a catch-22. Like they either make the space smaller and then you don't get to fly around as Iron Man, or it doesn't really work very well, or you make it really big and then it feels empty unless you add these other pieces. So yeah, I would say it was a great single player game. I would have been fine if it wasn't multiplayer. I think it still would have been really cool. I think the DLCs would have been really cool. And again, I'm not mad that I played it. I finished it. If I hated it, I wouldn't have finished it. But overall, I think they missed it just enough that it made.
I think some studios get too afraid to do just a single player campaign because they don't want to be compared to God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn or The Last of Us, right? Because they just think, well, we're not going to be that, and if we're not that, then we need to add all these other things. And I do agree with Chapeau 100% that I think they thought they were going to be able to cash in big time on the microtransactions. So I have heard that Guardians of the Galaxy is significantly better, and from what I've played, I can understand why that is. So we'll see. I thought it was one thing that immediately jumped out that was different that we'll see if it's better or not, is I did think it was cool that you could choose whichever Avenger you wanted to be, whereas in Guardians of the Galaxy you play as Star-Lord the whole time and then the other characters come in as support, and I don't know what I'll think of that yet, but
All right. Well, do you think there'll be a sequel to this? What about that? Probably not. Just expansions. Yeah.
I mean, maybe. Maybe they'll learn from their mistakes and make a sequel that addresses all of them in a better way. Maybe. I actually think that they're getting a lot more support. Like people like it. Sounds like the Wakanda expansion. They also have like a Hawkeye one and a couple other ones that, especially if the price is right or if it's included as just part of the Game Pass thing, that actually may be a better way to go in this universe. One question I didn't address, at least in this review, but we've talked about before on the side, is I really thought I was going to miss all of the actors, like not having Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans and Mark Ruffalo and all those. And honestly, I didn't. It is really well voice acted, and ultimately, I got over that really quickly. And I think part of it was that smart choice to have you start as Kamala instead of one of those main four. And so I think that was a really cool way of doing it. And it was fine. It was like Guardians, they still made a great game. It's still a compelling story. They're great characters. You don't have to have the actors. And so it was fine.
All right, guys, let's move into the Xbox news. And I just want to quickly say, and this is not really a news, but I just wanted to say that the reviews for Forza Horizon 5 have come out, and it's sitting at a 91 on Metacritic. It's one of the highest, if not the highest rated game this year. Got a 10 from IGN. I'm so thankful and so happy. Congratulations to Playground Games. Probably should have gotten a 10 for a few of the other Horizon games, but I'm so happy that they finally got that perfect score from IGN. What a fantastic game. So kudos again to Playground, everyone at Xbox. And also there's a great article over from the guys over at Digital Foundry, and this is coming from John. I can't remember if it's Lineman or Linman, but he said the article's name is title is the technology of Forza Horizon 5, an Xbox Series X masterpiece. And they do great work over there. They always do like the frame rates, the resolution, deep dives into the graphics. But I just wanted to read this sort of conclusion down here at the bottom. It says, it's the mark of a gaming masterpiece that after all of that, I still don't feel that I've run out of great things to say about Forza Horizon 5. It's a game with a vast amount of content that always delivers something new and exciting. An open world game that manages to captivate and hold your interest, always intent on making you feel great about playing it. And ultimately, Forza Horizon 5 delivers exactly what I had expected based on the series' history and quality. I expect more from the team once they transition entirely over to the new series consoles, but for now, this is perhaps the single most impressive example of a cross-gen game that I've played to date. They made all the right calls building the Series X version of the game, while the Series S is delivering so much on a console that costs so little. With some caveats, the last gen version is still hold up too, but I recommend playing on series hardware. In summary, I think you can tell now that I absolutely love this style of game. I'm not ashamed to admit that non-simulation racing games are among my favorite gaming experiences, and to put it bluntly, Forza Horizon 5 is one of the best of its kind. So again, shout out to Forza Horizon 5. I can't wait. Chance we could play it in 45 minutes. My gosh, end the show now. And I just wanted to give kudos. Playground, if you're listening, anyone out there, Mike Brown follows the show. Maybe, thankfully, someday you'll listen to our show. Shout out to you guys for everything that you've done at Playground. I just wanted to recognize Forza Horizon for all of the great reviews they're getting. We will have much more to talk about it once we play it. And the other little kind of announcement I wanted to say was there's this awesome kind of section on Polygon right now, and it's entitled Welcome to Halovember. I don't know if you guys saw this, but they've got this month we'll Gregorian chant our way through the galaxy of Halo, and there's actually a really cool, they've got all kinds of interesting articles and histories of Halo, and one of them is titled Everything You Need to Know About Halo. So if you want to do some reading, you don't want to read, oh gosh, yeah, I set myself up for that one. Guys, go check it out. Can't wait for Halo. A great time to catch up and read about it. But let's jump into some real news. Chipotlebear, did you want to say something or?
No.
Okay.
I said everything you need to do the soundboard.
Oh yeah, do it again. Oh, let's jump into some real. I'm gonna freaking mute you forever if you keep. You're gonna be demoted to the assistant as a co-host. Guys, this is new to me, and I actually just read this tonight. Coming over from our friends over at Eurogamer, this is from Matt Wales. Battlefield 2042 is having a 10-hour trial for EA Play and Game Pass subscribers starting next Friday. So basically, those looking to try before they buy when it comes to Battlefield 2042, me, will soon have the opportunity to do just that if you're an EA Play or a Game Pass subscriber, courtesy of a 10-hour early access trial starting Friday, the 12th of November. Guys, this is amazing because I haven't pre-ordered it yet and I'm hesitant to, and I was actually going to send you guys and I still need to send it. Shout out to the Act Man. Have you guys seen any of his videos on YouTube? He's hilarious. I instantly subscribed after I watched one of his videos. He just did one recently that was titled Call of Duty Players Don't Understand Halo, and he does a great job analyzing why some of the top streamers are always like, oh, if Halo doesn't launch with a battle royale, it's going to fail in 3 weeks. Dr. Disrespect is saying, all the big names are all saying this weird narrative like the game's going to fail if there's no battle royale. Let me finish my thoughts, Chance. And it's really good. It's like a 30-minute video. Watch the entire thing in one sitting. I had to watch it. And then another one that came up was, this is the state of Battlefield 2042 or something. They basically, he's like, you need to delay this game. Everything in this video that he shows that was wrong with Battlefield is exactly what I experienced while I was playing on a Series X. And it's bad. And the more I think about it, that game was not ready to play. And if they somehow fix this, this will be one of the greatest turnarounds, and I'll have nothing but respect. But right now, I am very hesitant. So again, check out these videos by the Act Man. Awesome videos. Chance, what were you going to say?
Can you forward one to us? Or how do you spell that?
The Act Man, just ACT space man. He'll come up on YouTube. It is phenomenal. Like, he does such a good job. And I love how he explained the whole Battle Royale one really quickly, because he was like, basically, they're all great at promoting themselves and giving this entertainment as when they play Battle Royales over and over and over again. But it's like, maybe deep down inside, they'd love to play something else, but their audience won't let them. You got to watch it. It's so awesome. Halo is going to be great regardless, even if it doesn't have a battle royale. He actually argues at the end. He's like, I want one too, but just not right now. And he gives all the reasons why it's so important that Halo launches and hits it right off the bat as a Halo game first, and then we can add a battle royale. And I'm sure they probably have plans to do battle royale later on, since it's like an ongoing game with seasons like Destiny and Call of Duty. So I can't recommend it enough. I'll make sure and send it out to you guys. BubbleBoy, what do you think about there being a nice 10-hour trial of Battlefield? And I'm assuming all of us are going to try this.
I don't know if you didn't see me doing this the whole time, because I don't give
was that the too legit to quit dance
fudgesicle. I don't care. It was so bad. I don't care. I'll let you guys play it and waste 10 hours of your life doing it, while I will be having fun on Forza Horizon 5 and Guardians of the Galaxy, maybe even finishing up Resident Evil 8. I do not care. I'm over it.
And we're going to get into why, even more reasons why you might not care too. Chipotlebear, I'm going to save it. That's actually one of our news topics, and I'm sure you know which one. Does this interest you? Are you going to try it out with me?
Absolutely, I'm going to try it out. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And you're right. I fully admit the demo, there were lots of, or not the demo, the beta, there were lots of beta-ish things. But I'm hopeful. I mean, it's clearly not that we have that unique experience. So it's not like something that was unique to my system or to Colorado even or anything like that. It was clearly system-wide issues. And so they have to know that's a problem. If they are pushing forward, they are either fools, right, or they're addressing the bugs, right? And I'm trying to be positive and focus on probably the latter. And I don't want to be so quick to abandon Battlefield. I love Battlefield. It's really fun. I'm glad that it's back. And so I'm excited to see some of the new modes and see some of the new guns and see the different map. Like, I don't love the giant map all the time, but every once in a while it's fun. And so I'm excited to see some of the new modes and stuff. So yes, I will absolutely be jumping back in next Friday, again, a week ahead of Thanksgiving. Do you know, the one question I was going to ask is, is the 10-hour trial like a 10-hour window, or is it like you can play for 10 hours and then you get cut off? Do you know what that is? Do you know the answer?
I mean, okay. I'm hoping, I think in the past it's been like 10
A lot of the
hours
EA
of total
games,
playtimes.
it's 10 hours, like all the Maddens you could do for 10 hours and stuff. So I would think it's that, but it's not worth my time right now.
And there's going to be a lot more reasons why it's not worth the time. I did want to say quickly again with shout out to the Act Man. He brings up a funny comment. He's like, he felt like he was playing a battle royale map because the map was so big, that first one that we played, right? And I completely agree. It was just too big, and how the objectives were too far spaced out. Like nothing would happen for periods of time. You'd just be running, and if you didn't have a vehicle. And he's like, what's even more scary is like, DICE said that this was a medium-sized map. I already felt like that map was way too large as it was, and I'm like, oh gosh, if this is a medium map, kill me now. But DICE, I got a bad feeling. Let's move on to the next news story. And I'm not sure we're going to have too much to say about this, but I just wanted to announce this, that this is coming from Marvel.com. Skydance New Media joins forces with Marvel Entertainment. Marvel Games and Skydance are creating an all-new interactive title, and they're teaming up with Amy Hennig. And I can't imagine a better partner than Marvel for our first game, said Hennig, president, Skydance New Media. The Marvel Universe epitomizes all the action, mystery, and thrills of the pulp adventure genre that I adore, and lends itself perfectly to an interactive experience. It's an honor to be able to tell an original story with all the humanity, complexity, and humor that makes Marvel characters so enduring, and to enable our players to embody these heroes that they love. And Amy has been setting the bar for narrative adventure games for decades, and we're happy to be collaborating with a talented and experienced new media team at Skydance. And that's from Jay Ung, Executive Vice President of Marvel. Their ambition and vision for making an innovative entertainment using beloved Marvel IP was obvious from our first meeting. We're excited to share more with Marvel fans when the time is right. So guys, I don't know if you know, Jose, but Amy Hennig was one of the main writers for Uncharted 1, 2, I think 3. I don't remember if she left at that point. I think she left after 3. So she's a huge voice for the Uncharted trilogy. I don't think she was definitely not there for 4. She was also with EA, or I can't remember what studio it was. I think it was EA when they were making that canceled Star Wars game that was supposed to be about bounty hunters or whatever that ended up being canceled.
Oh yeah.
And then now she's with Skydance. Chance, I know you are a big Enchanted fan. What do you think this Marvel game could be? And Jose, think about that as well. What do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be related to like Marvel characters we already know and stories we already know, or could this be something new like Eternals, Shang-Chi, or the wherever Marvel's going out? Because I haven't seen any of the new Marvel movies except for Black Widow. That's the only one I've recently watched was the newest Black Widow.
You know, I have no idea. I still loved the segment we did a long time ago where we came up with what we thought it was going to be. I could see, you know, one of the things we talked about was how we were like, well, what would Marvel be okay with doing? And I could see them really wanting to hammer home the Phase 4 stuff, and so it would make sense to me that it's something like the Eternals. I am really excited that someone that's clearly this passionate about the medium has Marvel with them, and so what really upset me, I saw because you sent that tweet to us, and there was so much like hate down below, and I was just like, this is why I hate Twitter, this is why I hate Facebook. And I was just like, I'm excited. Like, you can tell this lady has a passion for what she does. She has a passion for storytelling. She has a passion for Marvel and video games. And
For video games, yeah.
And I'm just really excited to see, you know, it's like, there's something. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? And the possibilities are endless. So,
and I'm guessing this probably wouldn't be an exclusive game. This will probably be on everything, but you know what? I just quickly about Marvel and their games. I really wonder how Guardians does, because I'm concerned. Like, if it doesn't do well enough, like, is Marvel going to stick to the exclusive with PlayStation? If like, oh, we'll see, nobody is on buying this on Xbox. I hope it sells well, so there's some sort of, and PC, that there's like an argument like, hey, if they're not buying it on the other consoles and PC space, why would we not just continue with Sony and Spider-Man and Wolverine? Jose, what do you think about this partnership?
I mean, I echo a lot of what you guys think. I think it's great. I think Marvel is smart, right? That they see that there's a lot of profit to be made in games. They also have plenty of money because, right, they're owned by Disney, so they have lots of backing. And here's what I would say. I think they do their homework, right, when it comes to studios that they want to work with. And so if they chose Skydance, there's got to be a reason there. Looking at Skydance's back catalog, I didn't see anything that like necessarily made things jump out at me. You know, couple of games that we've never really seen that I would just like to see because I think it'd be fun when you focus on that storytelling element. I would love to see a Fantastic Four game that's actually pretty rad, that's got a cool story and has not been done. I also
that's a good
would
idea.
love an X-Men. I know we talk about that a lot. I mean, you could do a lot of really great storytelling. And in a weird one, I'd love to see a Ghost Rider game. He was always one of my favorite comic book stories as a kid, and I think there's a chance there for great gameplay and a great story. So those are just kind of off a whim. I mean, again, the further you get into the MCU catalog, the smaller audience you have, right? So that's the challenge. Like, that's part of why it was unfortunate that Avengers didn't do so well, because those are arguably their most famous characters. And again, when I say it didn't do well, it did fine. It just didn't do what they expected it was going to do. So I don't know. You know, we'll see. Again, I'm happy for them. I'm happy that for her, like, that's really great to get a great writing behind the story, right? That's always the most clutch part. And then, of course, if you have that piece, then trying to build a game that matches that integrity, if you will. So yeah, I'm excited.
I really like your idea. Like, I do think it should be something that's not something we've seen before, and out of like characters that they haven't used yet. I think that's really smart, and I hope it is something, because you don't want to do. Maybe it shouldn't be related to what phase are we in? Did you say we're in 4 with whatever these?
Yeah, we're in phase 4 right now.
What these movies are, because then you're just going to get the comparisons of like previous games. We're like, well, these aren't the characters we know. Do something new, or do something that they don't maybe have plans to make a movie of. That would be cool. There's so much, like Jose, you just gave examples for in the Marvel universe that they could go to. So next story, guys, and this is what I was trying to. Chance just brings it up perfectly. If Battlefield is not good, well, guess what? These are the games coming to Game Pass this month, and it's insane. It's literally insane. So on the 2nd, was already out, Minecraft on PC and Unpacking PC and Xbox consoles. Then today, I forgot, I actually pre-downloaded this. It Takes Two, PC, Xbox, Kill the Fire, PC and Xbox, and then November 9th, Football Manager 2022. I actually think I saw there were good reviews on this if you're into that. PC and Xbox. Then the 9th as well, Forza Horizon 5. My gosh, a potential game of the year, PC and Xbox. And then 11/11. This is all within a week. Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, and one step from eating PC and Xbox. And San Andreas is just on Xbox. You're absolutely right, Chance. Battlefield needs to nail this. And didn't Call of Duty just launch or is launching? I don't even know. I don't really care for Vanguard.
Yeah, Vanguard soon too.
Yeah, it's like either today or tomorrow or the next few days or Friday maybe. Why waste your time? Especially because I've heard great things about It Takes Two. Forza Horizon 5 is going to be phenomenal. And I haven't played San Andreas. And I pre-downloaded that as well. That's on Game Pass. Like I don't even have to buy that. Insane. Chipotlebear, talk to you. Are you going to play any of these games? I mean, obviously.
I mean, I'll play most of them. Even like the unpacking game, as silly as it sounds, I saw a couple of videos and I was like, oh, that's super cool, man. Like kind of a cathartic, just like burn 15 minutes, do something fun game. I think that was cool. I don't know if either of you guys saw the previews or the trailers for Kill It With Fire. Did you see those, Chance? Like the basic premise of the game is that you're killing spiders with all kinds of different stuff. But there was a scene in like one of the videos I saw where it honestly reminded me about Snake Island in Japan with that big spider that we were all like jousting with and stuff like that. It just brought back those memories, which was super cool. But yeah, man, I mean, it is just absolutely insane that this is all happening. I honestly don't, not to be negative because I don't like being negative, but it's almost like I wish they'd spread it out a little bit more because I want time to play them all. And I know that I'm really going to sink most of my time into Forza for now and then Halo and maybe Battlefield, again, trying to benefit of the doubt. Maybe it will be great and I'll want to find myself going back. But I guess the consolation is that if it's not great, and even if I give my money to them and it's not great, at least I'm still ahead. Right, it's not like Vegas where you're just down and down and down, and you're $10,000 out.
Or in the stock
I'm
market,
down $60,
like
but I'm up thousands, right? Because of all the great time and experiences we have. So overall, excited. It just feels like, as an Xbox fan, it feels like a real win right now. Like things are looking up real high. So I'm excited for that.
BubbleBoy, you already mentioned you're playing Resident Evil. You're playing Guardians of the Galaxy. Are you even going to have Forza Horizons tonight? Are you going to have time for any of these games? Or are these like, no, eventually you'll get to them? I have a feeling that Grand Theft Auto is going to be timed. It's not going to be there long. So you probably need to jump on that sooner than later. But again, am I going to make it? No, probably not. There are too many good games.
No, and I want to try It Takes Two, maybe even with Ashley. I think that might be, if I show her the trailer, that might be
I thought about that
just because of the whole concept and the story that she might be like, okay, actually I could see, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then obviously, I mean, Forza's a given, right? I feel like, and just God, what a time to be alive.
Any interest in Grand Theft Auto?
And Forza is honestly something you could play with your kids, like both of you, and me too. Like Penelope loved playing Forza before. She'll totally want to drive it. Yeah, she's gonna crash
got into it. She got into it because she saw the Lego one, and then I just let her drive around. For some reason, she loves driving in reverse. It probably has something to do with her tiny little hands and fingers, and that it's easier to hold L than R and still move things. But yeah, and I'm so glad
that or she's been playing Friday the 13th, Tommy Jarvis.
I'm so glad that IGN gave it a 10 out of 10 because I've been very critical of some of their other 10s, and it just reminds me that there is somebody there that understands what a true 10 out of 10 is, and that they gave it to a game that I assume to be so deserving.
Yeah, shout out to Luke Riley. He's the one who gave it a 10 out of 10, and he's been reviewing all the racing. He's a big car racing fan, and he actually liked what I tweeted. Thank you for making that video that IGN recently did about like the history of Forza Horizon, and he actually liked it. So shout out to Luke, big fan over there. There's too many games, so Battlefield better bring it, guys. Let's close out the Xbox news segment here with what I feel like is big news, but maybe it's not big news, or maybe it is. I don't know. Some people are huge Sega fans, but I found this out. I think Wario was actually the first one to like put it out in the public, but this did come straight from Sega Corporation, and I'll read you basically what it says. Sega, and this is from Sega's Japanese website. Sega and Microsoft to explore a strategic alliance to create new strategic titles for Sega and establish a next generation development environment. Sega Corporation and Microsoft have agreed in principle a strategic alliance that explores ways for Sega to produce large-scale global games in a next-generation development environment built on Microsoft's Azure cloud platform. The alliance would form a key part of Sega's mid to long-term strategy, allowing the business to move forward with a super game, a new initiative for developing new and innovative titles where the key focuses are global online community and IP utilization. And here's some words from Sega President and Chief Operating Officer Yukio Sugino. We are very pleased to announce today that we're considering a strategic alliance with Microsoft to help with Sega's new Super Game initiative, as well as build a next-generation game development environment. By considering a strategic partnership with Microsoft, we seek to further advance our game development so that our titles can be enjoyed by fans all over the world. In this regard, we aim to build an alliance that utilizes both Sega's powerful game development capabilities and Microsoft's cutting-edge technology and development environment. And then Sarah Bond from Microsoft had this say, I don't know what CVP means, I'll have to look that up. Sega has played such an iconic role in the gaming industry and has been a tremendous partner over the years. We look forward to working together as they explore new ways to create unique gaming experiences for the future using Microsoft Cloud technologies. Together, we will reimagine how games are built, hosted, operated, with the goal of adding more value to players and Sega alike. So the value part there, guys, has me thinking, at first, there were a lot of rumors about Microsoft potentially buying Sega. Doesn't look like that's happening, but this does seem like a strong partnership. A lot of the wording in there was talking about many players, online, global. So I don't know if this is going to be some sort of streaming service, Sega. Maybe that could play into streaming and maybe Sega's titles being added to Game Pass so they can play them on the cloud, or a new game that's maybe like an online only launch, like you can only play this through streaming. I don't know. You guys tell me. I don't really have much of a connection or affinity to Sega and their games, and I just wanted to see Chipotlebear. Do you have any ideas from when you read this? What did you think it meant to you? Do you have any favorite Sega games? And I actually have a list of them. Do you guys want me to read off some of the big ones, or do you want to give your thoughts first, Jose?
Yeah, go ahead and read all 4 of them. That you know.
No, dude, there's a lot. I'm on Wikipedia right now. Shout out to Wikipedia.
Well, does Sega Dreamcast count though? Because
well, these are all previous IPs. So Bayonetta is a part of them. That's a big one.
That was a OG Xbox.
That's one. 3 more.
That's a Sega. That is a Sega game. I'm trying to read something that I recognize here. Oh, Echo the Dolphin.
Oh, classic Echo.
Football Manager. Football Manager is active. Okay, there's a big one. Jet Set Radio.
He's like, Jet Set Radio wasn't that
Persona? The Persona games. Where is Persona on Xbox? That has to be happening now with this. That's a big one. That has to be coming to Xbox. Phantasy Star. Puyo Puyo.
But just give it up, dude. Give it up. There's
Sega All-Star.
Mutant League Football. Was that on Sega?
Yeah. They did a reboot of that one. It didn't go well.
Shenmue. Shenmue.
Okay.
Sonic, obviously. Shinobi. There we go. There's some big ones. Streets of Rage. We did just play that recently. Streets of Rage 4. I did play that. Valkyria Chronicles. I believe Chance tried that.
No, I really liked the first one. Quite a bit.
Okay, there you go. Warhammer 40,000. That is active and has a following. And the Yakuza games. Okay, so they have some IP. BubbleBoy, hold on.
Yeah,
wait,
no, I was gonna say, because what I just realized as I heard all that was we are only 22 minutes away from being able to play Forza Horizon 5.
Okay, so BubbleBoy clearly does not care for Sega. Chipotlebear, what do you think about this partnership? What did you think of the verbiage that was given to us? What do you, Harvard of the West, please, Professor, tell us what you're thinking for what this means for Xbox and Sega.
So I looked it up real quickly. I don't want to pretend like I knew what it was, but the CVP stands for cost, volume, profit. And a very quick scan basically is talking about how much do you need to sell to make a profit based on your costs. Fortunately, because Sega has so many IPs that are well known, all 16 that Dan just read. I'm joking. They do have name recognition, right? Like a lot of those, we do know those names, and a lot of them are still relevant, right? Persona is a great example of that. And here's what I would say. Bottom line is, again, even if I never play any Sega games, it doesn't hurt me for Xbox to have a partnership with them, or Microsoft, or them to be on Game Pass. Adding space for all 5 Persona games doesn't mean I inherently lose space for 5 others. Like, that's not how this system works. So I think it's cool that they're partnering, and I think that Sega is honestly smart, because they have clearly not been able to maintain hardware, right, over time. They tried the Genesis, the Dreamcast, the Game Gear, that kind of stuff, and they just really moved to software eventually. And yeah, people still know Sonic and some of those other things as well. So I think it's smart for them to do this. What is it going to come out of it? I don't know. I mean, maybe Bayonetta, maybe Persona, maybe a new Shenmue, but also maybe something totally new. Maybe there's some unexplored IP or something that can be redone or reimagined that is really cool. I mean, I'm not inherently excited. It's not like this was the announcement I've been waiting for. It's also super overshadowed by literally every other news story we just covered. But I think it's still cool, and it's, again, it gives credence to just this growing ecosystem of games and connections that Microsoft has. So overall, I'm excited.
And I will say, speaking of Sonic, I think what deserves to be said is that the garlic butter bacon burger is back at Sonic, and I'm freaking stoked because that thing is delicious. You all need to go out and get one right now. Are we still talking about Sega?
All right, moving
Seconded.
on. And actually, Jose Sarabond is the corporate vice president of Xbox, so pretty high up there, pretty crazy. So shout out to Sarabond.
Are we sure that CVP
That also could have been the CVP.
doesn't stand for corporate vice president?
That fits that.
I thought you said something else.
Well, I don't know what CVP they were referring to.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what it stands. That's what she is over there. That's the CVP.
Oh, okay. It was her title.
Yes, that's her title.
My apologies, kids.
Correct. Moving on, guys. Let's move into the good old days, and I cannot wait to talk about this one. Shout out to BubbleBoy for giving us this idea, because I struggled with this one, and I think you're going to be shocked with my list. So, guys, if you have any ideas for the good old days, we want to talk about, just the nostalgia of our past. We talk about video games. It can be about food. It can be about movies. Please send it to xboxrecordthis@gmail.com or hit us up anywhere on social media, Xbox Record This. BubbleBoy writes in, and he asks us, who are the top 5 NPC, I clarified, NPC companions throughout gaming history? And does anyone... Go ahead, BubbleBoy. Explain.
I thought we said we weren't doing that it doesn't have to be an NPC.
Yeah, we didn't clarify.
Well, for me, sorry,
NPC.
Any companion in a game, playable, not playable. Most of mine were NPCs, just because I feel like a companion you should control.
Okay, yeah.
You know
and you know
what
what? Rules are dumb. Let's hear the list, because
You want me to go first?
the reason I was trying to narrow it down was because I was like, well, we're all just going to pick like 4 Mass Effect characters and then something else. But
Yeah, by the way,
the
guys,
more I started looking at it, I was like, actually, this could get pretty
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, I who wants to start?
Who do you want to go clean up? Who wants
Sure,
to go?
I'll start actually, just because I don't know, I will. So number 5, I went with Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy VII, and I stopped, Daniel. It's a combination of a major crush.
Tifa?
Yeah, major crush that I had on her, and because she really had an incredible skill set. Like, she was a useful character. I put Barrett as an honorable mention because he's super cool, but I didn't always love using him. And the character of Vincent I loved, but I never used him. His
all are
limit
cooler
breaks
than
were
Tifa.
terrible.
I'm shocked.
Tifa.
But you get Tifa right at the beginning too, so she's part of your party from an early.
She's a
stage,
love
which is
interest,
a
and if you've
bonus.
played the remake, you will also really like Tifa Lockhart. Okay, number 4, Claptrap from Borderlands, which I feel like I'm the only one in here that has played all those games. And I know D-Wally's just cracking up over there. He's like, this is the most Bush League list, but it's my list. And Claptrap is absolutely hilarious. Number 3, this one you won't laugh at, except that you might laugh that it's number 3, is Cortana, of course. Oh, gosh. Okay. Jose?
No, I actually like that's fine. I think that's perfectly fair. I don't think that's good.
Yeah,
No.
I got nothing.
Cortana?
Oh.
Okay. Number 2, Yoshi. Does Yoshi? I think you. Oh my God, Daniel!
I would have put him at 5 out of respect. That's as high as he would go.
Okay. And number 1, of course, everybody knows is going to be Morden, right? And so we don't have to go through and explain why. My other honorable mentions, I already mentioned Barrett, but Atreus / Loki from God of War and Otacon. So.
I think you have a good list. Well, actually, no, I don't. I think your number 1 was about good. And Cortana. Chipotlebear, why don't you go next? Because you guys are going to be shocked by mine. Shocked.
I know.
And
I know. I do want to make fun of Dan. Speaking of honorable mentions, and just in defense of Yoshi, the way that he's on my honorable mention list, he's not my top 5, but he was incredible, man. I mean, you play any of the Mario games, like Super Mario World, you always wanted to find Yoshi, and you immediately jumped on him, and then you had like the special Yoshi colors. Like Yoshi is up there. He's not my top 5, but he's absolutely an incredible choice. So in reverse order, my top 5 companions from games, some playable, some not. Number 5 is Kazooie from Banjo-Kazooie, because I actually really liked the Banjo-Kazooie games, and he is not only like a great story character because they basically fight with each other all the time. And I shouldn't say he, it's actually a she. She is really awesome and funny, and also there's a lot of utility because you get a lot of your powers from her and stuff like that. So Kazooie, number 5. Number 4, a recent one is Barry from Alan Wake. And I mentioned that when we talked about the review. He is an incredible companion for the story for lots of reasons, because I actually thought I was going to really hate him and be annoyed by him. And by the end, all my love for Mr. Barry in Alan Wake. So he's my number 4. Number 3 for me was not an Xbox one. It was actually Sully from Uncharted. I really liked Sully as a companion character, and I don't want to spoil anything if you've never played the games, but there's some waves that you ride in terms of your relationship with him, and actually made me love him even more. And even though we made fun of Mark Wahlberg as Sully, I think Mark will do a great job. And I loved Sully as a character in the game. So that's number 3. Number 2 is this is my left field one, but going back to my roots, is Shiva Alamar. Anybody know what game that is from? Shiva Alamar.
I mean, is she
no guesses?
Is she the summon from Final Fantasy?
Ooh, that's
yeah,
a
the
good
summon
guess
from Final Fantasy VII.
No, she is your partner character in Resident Evil 5. She's like the African agent, and you actually get to play as her when you're playing Chris Redfield as he's like fighting the Ouroboros virus. She was awesome, and she was a really unexpected character. She's one of my favorites for sure. And then my number 1 of all time, got to go back to my roots, is my starter Pokemon in Pokemon Red, Mr. Charmander. He is my number 1 companion.
I was hoping you were going to put one of those on there.
Yeah, so Charmander was always my starter, and I got to put him as my companion. Love that guy. A couple other quick honorable mentions, and I'll pass it to Diwali. Dogmeat from the Fallout series, I wanted to put him top 5. He's such a great companion. I just had to give a little more credit to the others, and I didn't play Fallout till much later. And then the other one is I've never been able to play as him, but he shows up in so many games, and that is Alfred from Batman. Any Batman game, I think Alfred is such a great companion character, story builder, especially Michael Caine in the Dark Knight series from Christopher Nolan. So got to give a shout out to that guy. But that is my top list, topping it off with Mr. Charmander. Go Pokemon, Team Valor, all the way.
All right, and now getting into the best food we've had this week.
And getting into the best. Here it is, you guys. This is the Xbox Record This.
We have to listen to Daniel's
list. Oh, for real? You guys are gonna like my list. I think you're gonna be surprised. I especially Chance. Number 5, shout out to Barry. Jose, I just wrote that in right now. Completely, I don't know how I forgot about Barry. You're right. Barry is so annoying at sometimes, but then you love him at the end. And when he's wearing all those glow sticks and he saves you at that one point, just so cool, so hilarious. Barry is your bro. He's there. He's your, he's going to stand by you no matter what. He's your agent. He's got your back. Shout out to Barry. Number 4, Chance is going to be a little surprised with this. Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite. great companion. And I
Yeah.
specifically,
No, I get it. Yeah.
I specifically remember when I had played this after I played The Last of Us, and I was like, Elizabeth is such a better companion than Ellie was in Last of Us 2.
Oh, absolutely.
Not only does
Totally.
she provide some awesome conversations with you, she's always coming through in the clutch. Here's some ammo when you need ammo, right
Yep.
when you need it. Here's some health. Like a very helpful, awesome companion. And we have to talk about BioShock. The more I think about it, BioShock is a great franchise. So shout out to Elizabeth. So sorry I forgot your name last week when we were talking about it. Number 3, like Jose brought up, and I'm surprised Chance didn't have him, Sully. Sully is a great companion. He's the brother, I guess, father figure for Drake that he may or may not have had. An awesome friend, companion. I love Sully. And I agree, Jose. I think Mark Wahlberg could be a great Sully. Where's his mustache? Number 2, Cortana. Just an iconic character in all video games. But really, I think what hit me with Cortana after replaying these games, how much I care about an AI that really is not real. And it's going to be sad because I have a feeling we're going to say goodbye to Cortana in Infinite.
She's not real. She's artificial.
I mean, spoiler alert, all of these characters are not real.
Okay. Very strange. Siri just interrupted me for some
Zing.
reason. Getting jealous.
She heard you talking about Cortana.
Exactly.
She was like, get that
She's
bitch
like,
out of here.
hey,
So
listen
love
here.
Cortana. It's going to be so hard to say goodbye to her, but maybe the next AI will. Well, I don't want to say anything because Chance hasn't seen the trailer. And number 1, this is
Oh
going to
yeah,
shock
no,
you.
sorry, I did see the trailer.
Number 1, Chance, Garrus. And you know I love Morden, but after playing it this time, Garrus is my boy, and especially specifically the scene where you're up top shooting with him with the snipers. Every time you go to visit him, he always has something just so poetic and awesome, like timing wise, that you needed to hear to lift you up. Garrus, I was never the biggest fan of him, like going through the game. Like, I mean, I appreciated him.
You literally made fun of me for liking Garrus on my fire team when we did our Mass Effect
well,
spoilers.
doing it for
You
all
literally
the
were like,
all
"You
the
chose
time.
Garrus?"
No, I'm saying you got to switch it up a little bit. But after playing it again, and especially going through Mass Effect 3 with him, like he is the glue.
I'm
that
shocked
keeps you
over.
there. I know,
or over Jack.
And here's
even.
why. I love Morden, and he will always has, but he's only there for a small portion, whereas Garrus is there from the beginning, and your relationship with him grows, and he's your boy, man. He's like your best friend for the longest time, and I totally get it now. I have to shout out Garrus. Like the more I think about it, like I'd want Garrus on my side any day in real life and in the video game world. So here are my honorable mentions as well. Otacon, I wanted to put him on this, but too annoying and too whiny. Dog meat. Awesome, Jose, of course. I was gonna say any dog companions in any game, like the one in Fable. Come on, like the dogs are the best. And I said,
man's best friend.
And this one might surprise you, Chance. All of the sidekicks from God of War. I wanted to put Mimir on here, but
Yeah, you know, I thought of that as well.
Kind of comes in a little randomly. But to be honest, I really appreciated going to the dwarves, the armors. Every time I talk to them, hilarious. Those guys, best parts of the game at some points. And did you have Boy on yours, Chance, or was he on?
He was honorable mention.
Atreus
/ Loki. Yeah,
I'd rather have the other guys than. No offense to Atreus, kind of whiny too. And then I also have. I'm surprised this one might surprise you, Chance. Herc Drubman Jr. Do you know who Herc Drubman Jr. is, Chance?
Oh gosh, don't tell me.
Herc. I should give it away. He's up from all the Far Cry games. He's the crazy hit guy. He's hilarious. You never walked around with Herc and as your companion? You did all the animals the whole time? Oh man, you're missing out. Comedic gold, a great companion.
Oh,
to have fun
hold on.
With. Yes,
so he would always have all the explosive stuff.
Yes,
right?
Herc.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And then Morden, obviously, and all the other Mass Effect companions, of course. So, what did you think of my list, BubbleBoy? Pretty good, right? I think
You guys both did a good job. Yeah, I mean, I think in this one,
we all did.
We all
and
did.
Yoshi.
Like,
Yoshi would have
it's
been
just-
honorable mention too.
It's just fun. Like I think it's
Yeah,
such
no, I had a lot of fun with this. Like, this was really hard for me. I spent probably a good 15 minutes being like, oh, no,
Yeah.
what do I have on here? And knocking off Herc, and Barry absolutely deserves to be on here. The more I think about it, I'm glad. But if you didn't experience Herc much, Chance, he's hilarious. voice when you're walking around with him.
So the other thing, I prefer to play the Far Cry games stealthy, and so I would always go with whoever would help me be doing like the snipers.
Yeah, I'd heard just be like shooting his rocket.
Oh, and he
just
just like, hey, you're fighting, I'm coming in with an attack chopper, and
exactly. So I could see that. Well, great segment there, BubbleBoy. I really did have a lot of fun doing this, guys. Let's get into the best food we had this week. I'd like to go first because it's no shock here. Guys, I went to Popeyes twice today. I went to Popeyes right when I left
We
work.
need the counter. Jose, you got to work on that.
In Aurora, I got that here very quickly. I tried the new, some random name, hottie sauce. Not worth your time. It's like a Polynesian sauce on the chicken. It was not good. Stick with the original, and especially the spicy goat. I was so like not satisfied with it that, I mean, it was good. I mean, not good. It was acceptable that I had to stop at the second Popeyes on the way home off of I-70 in Kipling, picked up 2 spicy chickens, ate one for myself, gave the other one to Allie, made my drive home so much better.
You stopped at 2 different Popeyes on one drive home?
On one drive home today, correct. But here's the crazy thing, you guys. As much as I love Popeyes, and everyone knows this, shout out to Popeyes, the best food I had this week, again, shout out to Allie. She absolutely killed it this week, you guys. She made from scratch the best vegetable beef soup I've ever had in my life. The best homemade soup I've ever had. It was incredible. The beef, the vegetables, the little dot, you know what I mean? The
black-eyed peas?
No, the pasta part. The little pasta string.
Or
like pepes.
I don't know, whatever they're called. Incredible. And then tonight, knocked it out of the park again. Shout out to Allie. Again, tonight she made gnocchi and sausage with a vodka red sauce. Incredible, you guys. I couldn't believe it. Screw off, Popeyes. Allie killed it this week. So again, shout out to Allie. I love you so much. The food you made was the best food I had.
Nice work, Allie.
Week. Go ahead, gentlemen.
I'm going to tell Popeyes you said to screw off.
No, please, no.
There's that
I need the
guy
spicy
again.
chicken. No.
Okay, I'll go next. We had, and always I went with my mom and my dad and Ashley and both the girls on Saturday morning, and my mom was like, this is just really good. And I was like, never lets us down. And that's Village Inn. I got the ultimate skillet. You get bacon, you get sausage, you get a side of toast with some jelly, you get the sweet, you get the savory. It's cheap for the most part, and I can't remember ever having a bad experience at Village Inn. I am never going to be that guy that needs to. I can appreciate snooze, but I don't need to go wait 7.5 hours in line and have something that honestly isn't as good as Village Inn. So Village Inn, ultimate skillet. What?
Shout out Village Inn.
I love you some Village Inn. Breakfast for dinner and breakfast for breakfast. So my 2 things real quick. An honorable side note for my wife. She made tacos on Monday, and then we had some extra taco meat left over, and she actually threw it just literally in a thing of lettuce with cheese, and then I put Taco Bell sauce on it and had a taco salad for lunch. Phenomenal. Highly suggested. But the best thing I had this week was actually on Friday of last week. It was Halloween weekend, and we actually went out and met up with our old friend Kella and her boyfriend Matt. Shout out to them. And we went downtown to this restaurant called Giovannina's. And I have not been to a restaurant downtown in literally years for lots of reasons. But it was this Italian kitchen place that was phenomenal. And I had arguably the best meatball and like noodles that I've ever had in my entire life. It was so good. It was definitely overpriced by all means, but really, really great. If you're in Denver area, check out Giovannina's. I promise you will not be upset by their focaccia bread, by their pasta, and of course by their desserts. So that was the best thing that I ate this week.
Very nice. And also a non-shout out to Kella. She makes fun of us for this show, so non-shout out to Kella.
Oh, absolutely she does. Every day. I see her every day.
Well, gentlemen, this has been Xbox Record This, episode 27. Thank you so much for joining us.
See you online.
If you have any comments, questions, ideas, or thoughts for the show, please hit us up on Xbox Record This on all social media. My name is Daddy D. Wally. Joining me, as always, assistant to the co-host, Chipotlebear. Chipotlebear, where can people find you?
You can find me at the Chipotle_bear on Twitter or Chipotlebear on Instagram.
BubbleBoy, where can people find you?
Chipotle_bear
and
on
as
the
always,
Twitter.
gentlemen, see you online.
See you online.
See you online.
Xbox Record This is a podcast created by Daniel Walensik. You can follow him at Daddy Diwali on all social media. The assistant to the co-host is Jose Martinez, and you can follow him at Chipotle_bear on Twitter. The assistant to the co-host is Chance Siegel, and you can follow him at BubbleBoy N7. You can follow the show at Xbox Record This on all social media. If you'd like to find out more about the show, visit xboxrecordthis.com.